This meeting is being recorded.
So everybody gets to hear it's being recorded. Hi, I'm Becky Mossbrucker, and I'm the workshop coordinator for Peninsula Women's Network. And tonight we're going to have a presentation from the organization called Here for the Girls. And it's going to be very interesting for us to find out what they're all about. And more importantly to us is how we can help their community and their organization. So Peninsula Women's Network is always looking for ways to give back to the community, especially for, small business, women-owned businesses, that kind of thing. And if there's something out there that you're interested in, a topic maybe that we have not covered yet in our workshops, please email the Peninsula Women's Network or go on Facebook and send a message to us and let us know what topic you'd like to have presented, or if you have a presentation that you would like to give, let us know that too. And we'll reach out to you and get connected. So I'm not sure who is speaking with your organization tonight because you have several ladies here. So I'm going to let you all introduce yourselves and tell us what you do. And then Victoria, you can go ahead and do your presentation.
Okay, well, thank you so much, Becky. And I guess I'll begin. My name's Chris Schwab, and I am the executive director with Here for the Girls. And joining me this evening, what I'll do is I'll introduce their name and then turn it over to them so they can just give you a little bit of background on each person. So joining me tonight is Kristen Traylor, and Kristen is one of our 2022 calendar ambassadors and also a member of the organization. So Kristen, do you just want to tell a little bit about yourself? And then later on the presentation, you can tell your story.
Sure. Hi, everyone. Kristen Traylor. I'm a senior product strategy manager at Relativity, which is what my background is, since this is my work Zoom and I haven't taken it off. And I'm excited to be here tonight to tell you my story. So you're going to hear a lot about me later, so I'm not going to talk about it.
Thank you, Kristen, and thank you for jumping on the call with us tonight. Also joining us this evening is Victoria, and she is sharing her screen. She is the Director of Program and Operations. Victoria, you're sharing your screen, so if you just want to give me a text, whether you're able to tell a little bit about yourself or I can do that for you. Okay, I think I'll do that for her.
Sorry, my ribbon didn't come down. Thanks, Chris. Yeah, so I'm Victoria Riley. I'd like to share my title. I've been with the agency since 2016. Prior to joining Here for the Girls, I worked for a boutique IT consulting firm in Northern Virginia. So one of my kind of side passions is building apps and kind of process frameworks, which we're getting into it Here for the Girls. So we're excited about that. And thank you for inviting us this evening. We're happy to be here.
Thank you, Victoria. And finally, I'll turn it over to Karen Wilson, and Karen is our development and grants lead. So Karen, if you want to just give everyone a little bit of background about yourself.
Sure. Good evening, everyone, and thank you so much for the invitation to join you all. As Chris said, I am development and grants lead with Here for the Girls, and prior to that, I lived in the Washington, D.C. area where I was a nonprofit professional. I've worked for various nonprofits throughout my career, but I have to say Here for the Girls is my all-time favorite. And also I've had the pleasure of working with the ladies at PWN when you guys were very generous in holding the Go Beyond Pink Uncorked for the Girls, a fabulous event, and we are so grateful for your past support. And as I said, I'm just happy to be here this evening, and thank you so much.
Thank you, Karen. So now my background a little bit, I've been with the organization. I'm celebrating 12 years with the organization. We are currently celebrating our 15th year milestone. Excited about that. And prior to that, I was a elementary school administrator. So it's just a great way to, spend my days now and being with Here for the Girls. And I would agree with Karen. This is by far one of the best places to be, to work. And it's just a blessing. As Karen and Victoria have shared, a huge thank you to PWN and thank you to Becky for working with Karen to arrange this. PWN has supported our organization in the past, and we are incredibly appreciative and thrilled that you have done that. And we are so appreciative of the opportunity this evening to give you a little bit of an update for those of you that know us. And we can share some different changes in how the organization has evolved in the last couple of years. And for those that are new to the organization, we hope you walk away learning more about the organization and what it is that we do in the community. So what we're going to do is we're going to have we have a presentation, and Victoria's all set up to share the slides. I'm going to turn my camera off and then I will begin the presentation, and then at some point turn it back over to Kristen. But the reason why I'm turning my camera off is that it just gives you an opportunity to really focus in on the pictures in the slideshow that Victoria will be showing. And it would, for us, as the old adage says, a picture, certainly tells a story. And we want to tell you a story this evening. So let's see, I'll turn my camera off. So I'm going to ask if everyone can take a moment and please close your eyes. Imagine sitting there and hearing the words, "You have cancer." In a flash, you are sent into a whirlwind of emotions, many of which are completely out of your control. You have been projected into uncertainty. You can open your eyes now. How did that make you feel? What thoughts raced through your mind? This is just the beginning of the shared experience our members face when they are diagnosed with breast cancer. Young women face many different challenges because of their age and where they are at life. Challenges that can impact them far beyond the diagnosis and the treatment. So what are these different challenges? Women in their 20s, 30s, and 40s are often in the midst of their careers. Many of them are building and raising families. And a cancer diagnosis and treatment can mean loss of work and income, on top of high medical costs, which will impact their finances for years to come. Most breast cancer treatments put women into early menopause. It can lead to physical and psychological impacts. The treatment can cause infertility, sexual and relationship issues. And the treatment can also have side effects that make it hard to have the energy needed to raise a family and or sustain careers. And there are so many potential long-term health problems that will impact a younger woman for the rest of her life. Things like bone density loss, heart damage, neuropathy, lymphedema. Then there's that fear of the reoccurrence, and that can rise with every ache or pain. Believe me, they walk through their lives looking over their shoulder for every ache and pain. A lot of times we call it the stalker because it is absolutely following them wherever they go. At this time, I'd like to turn this over to Kristen. Kristen can share her experience and her story, coming directly from her words. Kristen?
Hi, everyone, again. So I have to go back to 2007. I was married, and my husband and I were just starting to try to have a family. And I kept having miscarriages after miscarriage, and then finally got pregnant. And in December of 2008, at 12 weeks pregnant, I had another miscarriage, and it was really devastating. And that next month, I felt like a bump, or it was like hardness, like right on the top of my breast. I could actually see something sticking out. And of course, I was a little concerned. And I talked to my OB, and she said, well, let's see if it goes down. You had been taking some hormones to try and get pregnant. You've been going through all these things. Let's just see what happens. Check back with me in a month. And it didn't go down. So she referred me to a breast surgeon. I went for the appointment, and I walked in, and he said, all right, we're going to do a biopsy. And I was just, taken aback, because, I heard the word biopsy, and I think, oh my gosh, that's such a serious thing. I mean, I was just here, I thought, for him to check me out. And but no, and I had gone by myself. So the next thing I know, I'm laying there, and they're, shooting something into my breast, which felt kind of like a gun. Not that I've ever been shot with a gun, but I felt like that's what it would be. And I walked out of there just kind of confused, but, tried to put everything, to the side. And at the time I was an attorney, and I was working for a big firm, but I was also doing this sort of volunteer pro bono thing where I was taking on some criminal cases. And so the following week I was about to, walk into court and, trial these criminal cases. And I got a call on my cell phone, and the doctor said, so your results came back and you have cancer. You have breast cancer. And I was just, I didn't know what to do. Like I was, in a room with, like one other person that I just didn't even know that well. And, a few minutes later, I just had to go into court for 3 hours and try these cases and just put it out of my mind. I mean, it was sort of a surreal experience. And it wasn't obviously until after I got out of court and I could get in my car and I could call my husband and my mom and, kind of share that news. And then I still feel like it took a while to really sink in. It just kind of felt kind of surreal from there. But then it's like everything starts coming at you. Like now you have to determine like what your treatment is, and, go get tested for this and genetic testing and this and that. And I mean, it was really overwhelming. And so, I made the decision to get a lumpectomy, and I scheduled it as soon as possible. Like all I could think of is, I want this out of me. Like, what is the fastest way? When can I get in here? They scheduled it, I went in on a Friday, and I was back to work on a Monday because I didn't want to tell anyone. I told like 2 people at work, and just like the person that I had to tell, my boss, that I wasn't going to be there. Like I just, I only told like a few friends. Like I don't know. It was just really hard to share that news with somebody. I didn't want people to treat me differently. I thought, like just keep pushing through. And from there I had to decide on what was my next course of treatment. Radiation, chemo, what was I going to do? And there's a lot of decisions to be made, and it's, like I said, everything is kind of thrown at you, and it's really difficult. And so I ended up, getting entered into a clinical trial for radiation, because at the time there were different radiation therapies. And so the one that I entered into the clinical trial, so I couldn't really choose, but the one that I got was actually the one that I was kind of hoping for. But what they did was like a partial breast radiation twice a day for 2 weeks. So normally people go like over a longer period of time, but maybe just, once a day, but I went every day, and it was so tired. I mean, that was just so tiring. And again, I would go before work, and I'd go to work, and then I'd go on the way home from work. And I wish I had like told more people, or just felt like I could take to the time off from work. But at the time I was an attorney in a big law firm, and just felt like I couldn't do that. And then I had to make yet another difficult decision. I mean, whether or not to have chemo. So there's this test that they can do, which will tell you, chemo could really work for you. Chemo probably won't work for you, or you're in the middle and chemo may work or it may not. And I, of course, was in the middle, so it did not make that decision very easy for me. And, I weighed everything, and because I was trying, I really wanted to have a family, I chose to not have chemo, which, obviously at the time was a risk. But I just, again, like it's hard to like look so far out, and I was so in that mode. I was 32, and I was in that mode of, I want to have a family, and this is the time to do it. So, I did not have chemo. And, from there, I just kind of like tried to get back into my, life and try and put it, out of my mind, put the cancer out of my mind. And I ended up like a couple months later, I found Here for the Girls. So I had wished I had found it like when I had been, diagnosed, but I met Renee, one of the founders, at an attorney event. And someone introduced us, and she said, "Hey, we have this organization," and I was like, "Huh." I was like, "I really, haven't really dealt that much. I haven't really dealt with the whole breast cancer diagnosis. I kind of was just putting it to the side, and it was great. I found it was a support group. I was able to go and talk to other women like around the same age as me who were going through, similar things. I feel like everybody has their own journey or different treatments and that sort of thing, but being able to really talk about, what I was going through, the decisions I had made about, and, trying to have a family and all that, it meant so much to me. And it really just made things like so much easier to be able to have people to talk to, like I said, who were going through some of the same things. And then I ended up getting pregnant that year in October, and had my first son in July. So, it was kind of crazy in that I had got cancer, went through all these things, and then ended up getting pregnant. And I really feel like all those miscarriages were my body's way of saying like trying to protect me, saying like, there's something else going on here. Don't get pregnant because you may have to make even harder decisions. So it just, for me, it worked out. And then in, I attended the groups for a while, and then it was time to move on. Like I came to that point in my life where I was like, all right, I'm going to put the cancer kind of more behind me and move on. I've got a child. I'm, really busy. And then in 2011, I applied and was selected as a calendar ambassador for 2012. And so that kind of brought everything back, but it was such a great experience because I was able to I started to talk more about and share my story, which, like I said, I really hadn't done previously, like out in the open publicly. And so many people would just reached out to me and said, "Oh my goodness, I never knew," or "I had breast cancer," or "I'm going through something right now." And it was just sharing my story helped me to be able to help other people, which was really great. And then I while we were doing the calendar, having the gala and announcing it, I was actually pregnant with my second son, and who I gave birth to in August of 2012. So it was the same year that I was a calendar ambassador, and it just kind of felt like it all came, full circle. And really just, over the years, I've just met so many women who've been diagnosed with breast cancer. And it's been great to say, like, here's an organization, Here for the Girls. Go on their website, join. There's a group of women that will share their experience. If you just want to ask for help, like, what doctor should I go see? Or what should I do about, the surgery that I'm having? Or did you have these types of side effects? Like, there's all these women there that are willing to share with you and share their story and help you. And so it's really been great to have this organization, not only to help me, but also to refer other women to. And then the opportunity for this calendar that we did this year, which is the 15-year anniversary, came up. And I was really excited to be chosen for that. And again, I felt like I shared my story on social media, and people came out of the woodwork again, people that didn't know I had cancer before, and that, maybe didn't catch the calendar for the first time. And so again, it's sort of been that circle of, continuing to help people, and just really spreading that awareness that you're not alone, and there are groups out there that can help you. A friend of mine right now is going through breast cancer, and she was trying to make some tough decisions on, lumpectomy or mastectomy, and, called me up and really wanted me to just kind of help her, tell her what I went through, and kind of to help her make not that I was, again, don't ever want to tell anyone what decision to make, but just to tell her, here's the things that have run through my mind, or that, I deal with on a daily basis. A few years ago, my mom was diagnosed, and she had a double mastectomy. And, even though she had a different path, I was able to really provide some of that support back to her that she had given me. In this year, in April, it'll be 14 years, which I just, every day I am just so thankful that, I was able to kind of, get through it. But, as Chris mentioned, it's always in the back of my mind, is this going to come back? It's hard. I have my mammogram and ultrasound next week, and it's scary to think, like, what if they find something? And so, anytime that, like, I feel something, I'm like, oh, I need to go get this checked out. It could be, the cancer could be back, which is scary. I always live with that fear. But I also live with that knowledge that, I can move forward. I've got, here for the girls to lean on, if I need them. And really just kind of like everyone's journey is different, but it's just so important to have that social support, that emotional support. And so the last thing I just wanted to share with you was a picture of my family, which is the next slide. So my boys are now almost 13 and 10. And I think of them as a miracle, but without going through that, it just probably never would have happened. So thank you for listening.
Wow. Thanks, Kristen, for sharing your story. And I think I'm going to have to take a pause in, our presentation and see, Kristen, to see if any of the ladies have a question for you, or, just want to chat a little bit, because your story, like you said, it's everyone's journey is different. But you have, quite a story that has so many different layers to it. And, we really appreciate you sharing that. So I'll open this up to anyone that may have questions. And unfortunately, I can't see everyone. So Karen, if you could help me if anyone has their hand raised.
I don't have a question. It's Nicole. But I wanted to say thank you so much for sharing that story.
Oh, thank you.
I don't see any other hands raised, Chris, so I think we're good.
Okay, great. Thank you, Karen. And Kristen, thank you again for sharing your story. It's, again, many different layers, and you certainly had a journey. Kristen, as she shared, is one of the calendar ambassadors this year. And because of the 15th year celebration and milestone, we decided to see if, let's have a calendar for, that filled with the ladies that have been in it before, so that they can tell the story. I'm still here. And part of the message that they said is they had, in each of the calendars, is they had, different pieces of advice. And Karen, I'm not sure if if the PWN group has calendars, but if they do not, we're happy to, drop some off to share.
No, I don't believe they have this year's calendar. So yes, I'd be happy to drop some in the mail, Becky, if you'd like. I can certainly send you some, or meet you somewhere and give them to you, whichever, is most convenient.
Okay, thank you. I appreciate that. Yeah, we have a couple of other coming up the rest of the year, so that'd be great to be able to give them out and let the ladies look at them. So I'll email you. We'll get in contact.
Okay, thank you.
That's wonderful. Thank you. Thank you, Karen. Victoria, I think we can move on to the next slide then. So now that you've heard Kristen's story, a real story behind the picture, and many of the pictures, based on recent research, younger women with breast cancer consistently show a greater psychological distress than older women. Also, breast cancers in women under 40 are often more aggressive. They tend to be diagnosed at a later stage at times, and have worse outcomes. And although a breast cancer diagnosis is extremely difficult, there is definitely hope. There are treatments and technology, and always are improving to increase the lifespan and quality of life. There are, everyone's journey is different. You definitely can move along and live a fulfilled life, as you can see that Kristen is doing. And I bet, just for a moment, if you can just stop and think, I bet everyone in this room at least knows someone or has been touched by breast cancer in some way. And whether you know someone living with the disease yourself, or it's in your community, or you're just, aware of it, you have an awareness of it, you make a difference. You really do. Your support of the organization, whether that be in volunteer roles, or, just your role in the community. And of course, the financial support that you give we work as a community, to help the ladies, that are walking this journey. Our organization offers a robust social emotional support. Like I said, they are dealing with a lot of different issues, and some are really, really struggling, and we're there to be with them. They face long-term treatment survivorship issues, many people, and we provide the ways for young women to connect. As Kristen said, if she had just known some of the ladies before, just to have someone to talk to and just to share and just say, wait a minute, you've been through this too? Yeah, you understand what I'm saying. You understand what I'm dealing with. It makes a world of a difference. What we call it loving support. We actually watch the women in the organization transform each day and every day. We watch them complete 5Ks. We watch them overcome their fears. We watch them have children. We watch them trust strangers. And we watch them be their true, authentic selves. See, the thing about our organization, and in order to join a support group, you have to be willing to be vulnerable, because you really are opening yourself up to so many things and so many people. You have to be willing to be seen and heard. And this is at the core of what this organization does. And you, PWN, and yourself, your role in the community, you have absolutely made an impact. You've made an impact in our organization, and you've made an impact in the lives of someone like Kristen, and you don't even realize it. And we want you to know how grateful we are, because you really are making a difference. Here for the Girls offers a safe and inclusive environment for our members. We have broken down our services in kind of 3 buckets. And the first is education. And that in a sense is anything that we can do to provide information, to our ladies, that information that they need. And trust me, they're inundated with all kinds of things from their doctor. And sometimes it's just nice to touch base with someone else in the organization, say, here's a piece that you may want to learn a little bit about. We've created and built very good relationships with our health partners. And many times we have physicians that will just speak to the organization. They'll just, give them a chance where it's a one-on-one webinar, and the ladies have a chance just to ask different questions. We had a most interesting one, a couple of weeks ago. We had ladies that were interested in nipple tattoos, because what happens, many times with the mastectomy, the ladies are looking to get a kind of a tattoo, on their nipples, and it could be anything from the nipple itself, and what it looks like in it, or a very artistic flair, because they want to feel good about themselves. So there's a woman in Richmond, her name's Amy Black, and she did an online webinar for our ladies. So these are the ladies that are interested in that. And it was just so wild. It was a chance for them to kind of ask questions that you may not have an opportunity before. And she even touched on insurance, how you can tap into your insurance a little bit to make that happen. The second area, and the one that, Kristen was mentioning, is the social engagement support. And that's where they receive this hope and inspiration power. It's the sister to sister. It is the breast cancer survivor with a breast cancer survivor. It's sitting next to someone and really knowing that they have walked that journey. And that's so important, because there's nothing like a shared experience. It just is, it answers a lot of questions. And then the last bucket is what's relatively new to the organization. And we hired a licensed clinical social worker, because although the support that we offer in many of our support groups really takes care of the needs of many of the women, there are still many needs that need a little bit extra help. And that's where you can have work with our social worker, who actually is a breast cancer survivor herself. Not a social worker in a sense that you'd find in a hospital. It's not really set up that way. It's just she's trained to have different conversations. She's trained to listen one-on-one to the woman who turns around and has a reoccurrence. And then she's now metastatic, and she's angry, and she's scared, and she just needs to talk to somebody, to help walk her through things. So that's the third bucket that we've added. And we're really happy about that service that we've incorporated in the organization over the last couple of years. So thank you again, PWN. You really have made a difference. You've helped that make that happen. We offer one-on-one connections with peers. We offer resources and referrals to help our members. But most importantly, we meet the member where they're at. Again, and I reiterate, and I've said it a couple of times, that no journey is the same. Everyone's story is different. And it's so important for us to follow their lead. We can't dictate as an organization exactly what kind of support. The ladies have to tell us, and it has to be what they need. So it's so important to meet that member where they're at. Here for the Girls has lovingly adapted the mantra of leaning in. So in the wild, when an elephant is sick, what happens is the injured elephant is centered in the middle, and two elephants, one on each side, come on the side of the elephant, because if the elephant falls, many times they can die. So the healthy elephants lean in against the injured elephant to keep them standing up until they heal. The young women of Here for the Girls, they're each other's elephants. They understand each other like no one else can. They share hope, knowledge, what questions to ask. They go to medical appointments sometimes together and treatments together. They lean in to hold each other up, whether it's in person or online. And they create a sisterhood that's based on love and trust and understanding. Each time that you support the organization, in whatever way it is, through services or time or volunteering, you're really helping them lean in with each other. We really appreciate that. So what we want to do is just the last couple of minutes, show you a video and show you what leaning in looks like. Victoria?
You're broken down and tired of living life on the merry-go-round, and you can't find a fighter, but I see it in you, so we gon' walk it out. Move mountains, we gon' walk it out and move mountains. And I'll rise like the day. I'll rise up, I'll rise unafraid. I'll rise up, and I do it 1,000 times again. Times again. The silence isn't quiet, and it feels like it's getting hard to breathe. And I know you feel like dying, but I promise we would take the world to its feet. Move mountains, bring it to its feet. Move mountains, rise again. And I'll rise up, and I'll rise up, and I do it 1,000 times again. Rise again. Rise again.
Perfect. Thank you, Victoria. So ladies, that's our presentation tonight. We hope that it answered some questions that you may have, and maybe walked away learning something a little bit different about the organization that maybe you've been connected to before. Does anybody have any questions? Questions for me, questions for the rest of the team, or Kristen?
I do. Are you guys only here local, or is this a nationwide organization?
It's actually nationwide. So what has happened over the years, and it's kind of evolved. We had a number of support groups that were set up in other states like Florida and Texas. And because of the pandemic and COVID, those in-person groups shut down. And then we switched over to virtual. So in 2020, everybody obviously was, pushed into this virtual environment. And Here for the Girls made the transition. And everything that we were doing was virtual, everything right down to the gala. We only had 50 people at the gala, and all of our support was done online. And as we're moving through this COVID, what has happened is it has opened up an opportunity for ladies to be part of the organization that are out of state and not in the geographic footprint. In addition to that, what we also found is that even ladies that live locally, sometimes they can't make a meeting. Sometimes they're just too tired, or they have kids, or they don't have childcare, and they're able to, hop into a support group online. We are gradually getting back into the in-person. The in-person is close in this area, within the Virginia area, but we are definitely nationwide virtual, and we have a lot of people from different states.
Okay.
Thank you for asking.
Yes, I have a friend that just recently found out. So,
oh my gosh, absolutely. Please get her connected with the organization. And if you have any questions, what I can do is connect you with Sammy.
okay.
Even if you have questions for yourself. And like I said, we follow their lead. It all depends on, what is it they need, and do they need anything else right now, or do they just want to sit back and listen and watch?
Sure. And I guess on that note, has Kristen, maybe this is good for you, but other than the organization, like as a friend, what was something that was helpful?
It was just the listening, really, especially like if for the few friends that I did tell at the time who hadn't been through it, like there was not really much they could say. It was just kind of just being there to listen to what I was going through, and and sometimes that pep talk, like, hey, we'll I'm here for you, you're gonna get through this, that kind of stuff is sometimes can be really helpful.
That's a great question, Nicole. And we get that often. There are many times that a friend or a family member will call us directly, and you're just not sure what to say, and how to be there. And absolutely, just listen. You'll get the message. You'll know what to do.
Mm-hmm.
It becomes natural.
So what can we as an organization do to help you? I know you sent me a couple of events that you all have coming up. You want to talk about that for a minute so others know what we're talking about and when they are and how we can help you support that?
Sure, Karen, I'm going to turn that over to you. I'm not quite sure the information that you sent over.
Sure, just one second, and I will see if I can pull that up, but I know that we did have on the list our upcoming golf tournament that's going to be coming up in April, and we're always looking for volunteers for the signature events like that. Let's see, what else did we talk about? Just hang on one second. Let me see if I can find that. I apologize.
I think you have one called Run for the Hills. It's in October.
Yes, that is our other signature event, and we also look for volunteers for that event. So if anyone's interested in that, we do have a volunteer form online that you can fill out, and just let us know if you're interested in helping out, or if there's another way that you might have an idea and what you think you can do for the organization. You can certainly put that on the form, and Sammy, who is in charge of all of our volunteers, will get back in touch with you. So I think those were the two main ones that were on the form. And as I said, if there's any other area that you think you would like to volunteer, if you have any expertise in any areas that you think might be helpful to us, we are more than happy to learn about that. So yeah, I think that's about it in a nutshell.
Do we have a link?
Thank you, Karen.
Sorry.
Oh, I'm sorry. Thank you, Karen. I'm just going to jump in on maybe a couple other things. So if we could somehow, if you could help us get the word out, you know, whether it's the golf tournament or the run, you know, a lot of times, I mean, everything is peer to peer, right? It just is, you know, if you tell that person, you tell that person, it's like that. What was that commercial, that hair product commercial years ago? I can't remember the name of the shampoo. Right. But it really does. It really helps in, you know, getting that message out. It looks like Victoria just put the link, you know, to the golf tournament, which is, you know, which is really helpful. And as Karen just mentioned, you know, we like to connect and partner with people in the community. So if there is a skill that you have, right now we've got a team of people that come in on a Tuesday. They're kind of a regular team that, you know, pops in, does it, you know, a couple of the volunteer things that are happening in tasks. But we also have a number of what we call full support volunteers. And many times those are people that come to the table with a certain skill set. You know, right now we have a volunteering and she's working with us on knowledge transfer. She's former Mobile Exxon project manager, and she's offering some time with the team and just, you know, helping us in those types of areas. That is incredibly valuable. So any skill set that you think you have that would be, gosh, helpful, you know, that would be wonderful. And then of course, share the events that you're doing with us, because then we have our own network of, you know, of people that we can just pass that on. And we'll make sure that we pass on that you have a membership drive going on.
And I just added to the chat the link to our website where you can sign up if you'd like to get involved.
Thank you.
You know, the application for like volunteering as an individual person. But then when I heard about the run in October, I was like, oh my gosh, see, this would be, Nicole and I would like to be a better workout person than I am. Nicole is the sports person. She's it. So I thought
Race.
that would be a great thing to get us moving, up and moving out of our chairs, you know, that. So I was going to specifically approach Nicole about the run in October, but as an organization, then we should fill out the applications individually is what you're saying, not as an individual, as a group coming together, right?
I think that if you're interested in doing any kind of organizational event piece, then you would get in touch with Karen and
Okay.
she will help walk you through that. If you're interested in volunteering as an organization at something like the run, which all that went through my head right now is PWN t-shirts and, you know, all everybody coming together, right, as a group. That would be phenomenal. The run is in October. It's in Newtown. We moved it. So it used to be at the stadium and we moved it to Newtown, right at Sullivan Square. And I'll tell you what, it was, oh my gosh, the spot's so much better.
My girlfriend ran that a couple years ago. We had a good time.
Oh, good.
Oh, that's
good.
good.
Mhm.
Yeah, if you guys would like to register for the run, you know, as a group and set up your Classy page, and then that way you can also, if you'd like to help out a little bit more, you can create, like I said, your Classy page, and you can share that on your social media sites and encourage people to support Here for the Girls through the run. So that's definitely one way that you can help.
I know, you know, a lot of us have other businesses. So one of the volunteer opportunities was working in your office during the day on a weekday. And I thought, I don't know how many of us can do that because we're all working other jobs. So I think the event thing would be the way to go.
Sounds good. Yes, that is our T3s. They come in on Thursday mornings and help out around the office. And a lot of those ladies are retired. So I hear what you're saying.
So Victoria's texting me. Victoria, do you want to share about the partnership with the run, what you're thinking?
Yeah, I mean, if you ladies are really interested in trying to get involved in the run, whether that's a team or volunteer, kind of like a cross between that, I think we'd be happy to sit down and look at what does that look like as far as kind of a sponsorship agreement. Since moving it to Newtown and working with Scott Grafton over at Ironbound Gym, I think the potential of growing this run, it's tremendous. We have a lot of large organizations such as Ryan Homes, of course, Town Bank's the presenting sponsor. So I think it's a great opportunity to get PWN involved in the run.
Mhm.
And that's typically around June is the registration, but I mean, we can start having talks about what that looks like at any time.
Absolutely. That sounds great.
Yeah, absolutely. And a way to, gosh, grow your presence as well. Kristen, do you have any thoughts that, I don't know if you had any additional thoughts as you're listening, maybe from a different seat. Is there a way for them to get involved?
Yeah, I mean, I think you said like one of the most important ones to me is like spread the word, and if you have a friend, point them to the website, get them there. That to me is
Yeah.
so impactful to help somebody like that at the time. But and then of course donations. I know donations can always help as well.
Right.
Victoria, I just in the chat said something, but you said you have some shareables that are social ready.
Yeah,
that-
we can give you stuff for the golf tournament that all you would have to do is just post it. They're already
Yes.
built and ready to go.
Yeah. And then we can share all this on our PWN page.
Another thing, this is a super hyper specific request, but we are looking for a nutritionist
Oh,
that would
that's
be
great.
willing to speak to our women on May 14th. We're doing our retreat in Yorktown, Virginia. So it's going to be at the Hornsby House.
Okay.
But we're looking for a nutritionist. So if you have anyone in your network.
I think we may, if not, I personally may have somebody.
Okay.
I know
Great.
Gene could talk to them about herbs, and Gene Howard could talk about that. So she has a farm in Matthews and grows her own everything. Everything's very healthy and organic.
And that's really helpful. When we partner with different people in the community, and, as we mentioned, we'll do these educational, events, and it might just be kind of a quick educational event where you open up an opportunity. A number of ladies jump on board, and we also record things, and we have a private member portal, thanks to Huntington Ingalls. And what we're able to do then, we store everything on the portal. It's not on anything, our own data, our own servers, and they're able to access it for forever. But we have all that storage, which is wonderful.
Great.
Sounds good. Thank you, ladies, so much for doing this. I really appreciate it. Sorry for the glitches at the beginning. I don't know what happened, but we got it done.
Oh.
So
That's the new virtual world we're in.
yes, it is.
Flexibility is the name of the game.
Yep. So Karen, I will email you, and maybe we can get together and meet up somewhere to get your calendar.
Okay, Becky.
I would love
Sounds
to do
good.
that, and then we can hand them out in the next 3 or 4 events that we've got several.
Yeah, no problem. And Nicole, you might want to share one with your friend if you think she might find that to be helpful. The health guide is inserted in the calendar, and it has a lot of wonderful information and resources. So
That's great. And that'd be an easy way to kind of get the information to her. So I'd love that. Thank you.
yes.
Well, thank you all for sharing and for doing what you do. And again, for taking time out for us tonight. And Kristen, it was such a pleasure to meet you and hear your story. So thank you.
Thank you,
Thank you.
ladies, for what you do.
so much.
And thank
Bye-bye.
you
Good
Becky,
night.
for coordinating. Sorry, I almost said thank you.
All
Bye.
good.
Thank you, Becky.
Good night, ladies.
Good
Good
night.
night.
Bye-bye.